last year. Shoot on my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Taking no L's, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Who running the game now? Foot on the gas, can slow down. No, my team, we holding it down. We know we running it now. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change, yeah. Me. Tell them that's life, yeah, it's still love it. I'm taking a shot for my enemies. I can't waste no more time on my energy. I know they know I got it on lock. Go against me, that's a long shot. Cause I'm counting wins all around the clock. Never doubt me, boy, I don't stop. Who do you feel when they make you the monster? I am not scared of none of you imposters. Taking the lead now while they watching. Think you should leave now while the option. Taking no L's, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Who running the game now? Foot on the gas, can slow down, no.
Welcome to a Happy New Year edition of the It's Cavalier podcast. It's your boy Mac. Tonight, our Cleveland Cavaliers took on the Los Angeles Lakers and some old guy named LeBron James. You guys, I don't know if you ever heard of him. Obviously, I'm kidding. I kid. The Cavaliers had the pleasure of handing LeBron James the first L of his 40s. A glorious occurrence that he will no doubt remember for the rest of his days. And it felt good because from a historical point of view, a historical context, the Cavs have not been on the right side of these matchups. He entered tonight 19-4 all time against Cleveland, and LeBron was 7-3 since joining the Lakers. Well, we can make that 7-4. This is just the 10th New Year's Eve contest ever for the Cavs, and they enter with just a 3-6 record all time, and now we can make that 4-6. So it feels really good to be able to say a couple of these things. And this team, man, I say this shit every single time I go live on here, but they just win in creative ways. Tonight, Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen combined for 47 fucking points. They brought their A games tonight. It wasn't always pretty, but I'll tell you what, Jarrett Allen, give this motherfucker his roses, right? His flowers, his props, because so many people be shitting on his name. I just don't understand it. Jarrett Allen, just in particular, 27 points, 14 rebounds, was 12 of 14, very, very efficient from the floor. So much attacking on the inside for Jarrett Allen. 3 of 4 from the charity stripe, 3 huge blocks, might I add, a steal, and was a plus 12, a game high, plus 12. For the Cleveland Cavaliers. This was awesome. Seeing Jarrett Allen going to work against the likes of Anthony Davis. And you know what? Gotta respect Anthony Davis. 28 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 12 of 23 from the field, 2 of 4 from three-point range, 2 blocks himself, 3 steals. Anthony Davis is always going to be a guy that's going to be able to put up big-time stat lines. He's that talented. But to be able to go out and give it to Anthony Davis on the offensive side of the ball, if you're Jarrett Allen on a team where you're the 4th option most nights, holy hell. I mean, this guy, again, you just got to give him his props because he is often the guy that sacrifices the most in the core 4. We know whoever's going to be starting at the 3, whether that's Dean Wade, who's been phenomenal as of late, Max Strus, who may eventually lay claim to that, I'm not sure, Isaac Okoro, whoever else that may start out at the 3. Jarrett Allen is one of the only other players in that starting unit who is sacrificing big time. He is by far the 4th option on the team, and he makes the most with his looks. And tonight, the Cavaliers saw that he was hot, that he had it going on, and Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell and company, they made it a concerted effort to get the ball to Jarrett down low, and especially Darius Garland. Darius Garland would finish with 14 assists, by the way, so big ups to him. But I was very, very impressed from this front court pairing of Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. And to be able to see these guys do this on a nightly basis where not many teams, really, if any teams in the NBA have the luxury that we have to have 4 different options within your starting unit that you can go to if somebody else is off. And tonight, it didn't really feel like that was the case for any of these guys. Donovan Mitchell finished with 26. Evan Mobley finished with 20. Jarrett finished with 27. And even though Darius only finished with 14, the facilitation and playmaking that you got from him was just as impactful as any points that he could have scored. Again, 14 assists. I mean, let's fucking go. I mean, this was quite the game. I knew coming into this one that it was going to be a good game, and it did not disappoint. As Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell kick things off for the Wine and Golders, Evan with a drive inside for 2, and I believe Donovan Mitchell with a triple. It was just a pretty high scoring affair from Jump Street, with both teams scoring 30 plus in the first. Cleveland went 3 of 11 from range in the first quarter to LA's 3 of 7. And then they would end up turning in a 4 of 11 effort from the 3-point line in the second, with the Lakers shooting just 1 of 10. I mean, they managed to really go on some major runs. In the 5-man group of Darius Garland, Sam Merrill, Ty Jerome, Dean Wade, and Jared Allen really got things rolling in that second. And it's that lineup that has led to some of the most efficient possessions that we have seen this season, with Darius Garland spearheading the attack. His ability to find teammates, whether in the dunker spot, cut into the basket, or out on the perimeter, is truly one of the best things about his game, right? And he's one of the best in the NBA at doing that. And Allen ended up scoring 10 of the Cavaliers' last 13 points to close out the first half. And we saw how he closed out the fourth quarter. He was a man possessed out there. It's so fucking awesome to see Jared Allen be able to do that. And the Cavaliers, on a night where they probably should have had tired legs, and don't get me wrong, it did appear that way from the jump, but they managed to power through, right? And one of the biggest performances that we got tonight came from a man who recently returned from injury, and it came off the bench in 26 minutes. That is Max Strus. Max Strus would finish with 15 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, was 5 of 9 from the field, including 4 of 8 from 3-point range. We know how big of a volume shooter that he can be, the gravity that he brings to the table, the underrated defense, the rebounding, the secondary facilitation and ball handling. It's all there. And when he gets his legs back under him, like he looked like he did tonight, I mean, look out. And the questions are going to keep on coming. Who is best within the starting lineup? Who belongs on the bench? Those questions are going to keep coming, but it's just a luxury that this Cavaliers team has legitimately like 3, maybe even 4 different guys who can start at the 3. And Max, looking like he did tonight, just it's phenomenal to be having that many options. I mean, you just look at some of the shit that we saw tonight from Max, some of the movement shooting coming off of screens, some of the DHO work that we saw between him and the bigs is something that was sorely missed on this team. He had one DHO with Evan Mobley that just was so reminiscent of so many of the plays that we got out of the trio of Max, Evan, and Jarrett so often last season. And there's just so many different things you can do with that, right? I explained it in a recent piece of content I had about Max, but there is just so much that he brings to the table, even when he isn't knocking down the 3-point shot. And I think that so many people get caught up in the shooting aspect of his game that people just tune out some of the other aspects of the game that he brings to the table, right? Again, the facilitation, the secondary ball handling. He is a very capable ball handler. We saw that in the Charlotte game last season to end the year, right? In game number 82, where he nearly had a triple-double. We've seen it time and time again. He can put the ball on the floor and attack the basket. He is a pretty damn good cutter. He is a good rebounder relative to his size. There's just so many different things that this man brings to the table that people just do not take into consideration. And I'm glad that tonight you got to see a little bit of all of that. I mean, seriously, I mean, you saw everything that this team was capable of tonight. Look at Jared Allen out there, and Darius Garland. Some of the feeds that he was able to hand out there. He hit his man in stride time and time again, and it was usually Jared Allen that was on the receiving end of many of these. And I couldn't be any happier about what we have seen from all of these guys when still the NBA just does not give them a modicum of respect, right? We see this on a night in and night out basis where they look like the best team in the NBA. But I mean, I don't know how much more it's going to take. This is the third straight sweep of a team. The Cavaliers have now swept the Denver Nuggets. They have now swept the Golden State Warriors. They have now swept the Los Angeles Lakers. And look at Strus there. My guy, man. It's just, and Mobley over the King. I mean, these are some of the highlights of tonight's game, some of the best plays. But man, it's just, it is just so good. This team is just so deep. And I know that there's a lot of talk surrounding look at Dean getting to the basket there. There are just so many rumors. And so you hear so much about what the direction the Cavaliers should go in regards to addressing some of the needs on the roster, whether that be a bigger, taller wing, whether that be a backup 4-5. And trust and believe, I do understand these to be real needs, but with the way that this Cavaliers team has been whooping ass this season, I don't really fucking know what you do, right? I don't know how you choose to navigate the tax threshold because the Cavaliers, as it stands, are about $1.6 million over that threshold, if I am not mistaken. I don't know how they're going to choose to navigate that. Maybe they say, fuck it. We got everything we need, and we're just going to pay the tax. We're going to bring everybody back, go over the cap, go above and beyond to keep guys like Karis LeVert in town because they have his bird rights. I really don't know. You have a number of players who are going to be due for contracts. Sam Merrill, Karis LeVert, Ty Jerome, all of these guys are going to be due new deals. I don't really know what they do, but what I do know is that this season they seem very, very equipped to make a run at a championship, and they just keep knocking teams off left and right. Again, 3 straight sweeps: Nuggets, Warriors, Lakers, all Western teams. The Cavaliers are now a pristine 9-0 against the West. Fuck the West. Okay. I'm just joking to anybody out there that lives on the West Coast. But I think that people for so many seasons got caught up in how good the Western Conference is in comparison to the East that I don't know. Things might be a changing. 2 of the best teams in the NBA, 2 of the top 3 teams in the NBA are in the Eastern Conference, that being the Boston Celtics and Cleveland Cavaliers. Oklahoma City, who we're going to see very, very shortly, I would not hesitate to say that they're the, one of the 3 best teams in basketball. How you go about proclaiming who is better than who, I don't know. That's your opinion. I don't know whether it be Boston, Cleveland, OKC. I clearly have Cleveland at the top, but you can go either way with how good OKC is and how good Boston is. And I think as long as the Cavaliers just continue to put some space in between them and some of these other teams in the East, we ain't got to really worry about anything, right? You are now 29-4. 29-4. Anybody that could have predicted this would be the record through 33 games, anybody who said that would be lying to anybody, right? This is past my wildest expectations. This is past my wildest dreams for how good I thought this team would be. I knew that they would take an offensive leap under Kenny Atkinson, but holy shit. I mean, some of the stuff that we're seeing from this team is just, it's impossible to really have thought that we could have been this good. Another game where they go over the 100-point mark after a game against the Warriors where I was seriously in doubt. I thought that streak was in jeopardy, and then they had the second half where they really turned things on. But tonight it was pedal to the metal. Looked like a completely different team. And while they didn't necessarily shoot well from 3-point range in that first half, as they would go just 4, and when they would go just 7 of 22 in that first half, they rounded things out in a major way in the second. And you know what? They did something that people often forget about because of how good that this team has been from beyond the 3-point line. They attacked. They went inside. They got Jared Allen and Evan Mobley involved. You saw a lot of guys cutting to the basket and getting theirs. And they would finish the night shooting 18 of 46, or rather 39.1% from 3-point range. Another night where they're shooting basically 40%. You forget just how good that they can be at attacking the basketball when you have slashers and drivers like Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, when you have big men down, in the low post like Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I don't know what you do if you're the opposition. I really don't know what you do. This team just has so many different options. That said, I'm going to hop into the chat because this is probably not going to be a live stream with it being New Year's. Inner City G's said, you said fuck West. It is what it is. Don't backtrack, my G. Nah, man. I'm never going to just go out there and say fuck people. Just not how I roll. Suggest some guy from Cleveland. How do you pull Wade out of the starting lineup? Truth be told, I don't know how you do, because if I'm not mistaken, if the math is math, and the Cavaliers are now 14-1 this season when Dean Wade starts, and you see the difference in statistics from Dean Wade when he starts this year. I mean, there is a stark contrast between, it's not necessarily in points production, but from an efficiency standpoint, Dean, it looks pretty damn good. I mean, he started now 15 games this season. The Cavaliers are now 14-1 in those. He's averaging 7.5 points, 5.6 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and he is shooting somewhere around 43.2% from the field, including 37% from three-point range. Now, I can guarantee you that when he comes off the bench, it ain't the same. I mean, it just doesn't feel the same. The looks that he has gotten aren't the same. Again, he's come off the bench 9 times this season, 4.7 rebounds, 3.4 points. It speaks for itself, right? You're not going to get a lot of points production. And then the field goal percentage, 31.3% when he comes off the bench, including 31% from the three-point line. So yes, I don't know how you pull him out of the starting lineup whenever he's out there. The defense that he brings to the table, being able to guard bigger wings out there, having the confidence to pull and take that shot from three-point range, the rebounding. And now Dean Wade, little known stat here. Dean Wade has now pulled down 22 rebounds. He's pulled down 22 rebounds in his last 2 games. Dude is making himself felt out there. And while he only finished with 3 points tonight, the thing that you know about whoever starts at the 3, you don't need them to provide you a ton of points. What do you need from them? You need them to take the shot, to continue to space the floor. You need them to play defense, and you need them to be able to pull down rebounds. That's really about it. You really don't need a high volume shooter there, although we prefer it. But with the weapons that we have in place in the core 4, and Darius and Donovan and Max and Jarrett, not Max, and Evan and Jarrett, you don't really need somebody to go out there and take a high volume of shots from 3-point range. You just need somebody who can reasonably space the floor and can play defense at a reasonably high level. And Dean Wade is capable of doing both of those things. So I love it, right? Again, 22 rebounds from him in just his last 2 games. It's just been awesome. So I don't know how you remove him from the starting lineup. And Max is clearly still working his way back into game shape, but tonight was a step in the right direction after, maybe not necessarily the most efficient starts to the season for Strus. I mean, tonight's game is definitely going to help, as it brought his 3-point percentage up to 36.4%. Well, that's actually his regular season stats for his career. 26.3% is what he is shooting according to StatMuse right now. I'm not sure if that takes into consideration tonight's performance. I don't know if it's actually updated as of yet. Well, what I can tell you is that it has not been the most efficient season to start. This is only his 5th game back. It hasn't been the typical Strus that you were expecting. But again, this was to be expected with him just working himself back into the season, only being back for 5 or so games, right? He missed the first. If tonight was game number 33, then he missed the prior 28 games, right? I'm not good at math. But yeah, you just have a lot of options. And I really don't know what Kenny Atkinson is going to end up doing come postseason time. I don't know if he goes with a 9-10-man rotation. I don't know who's in, who's out. So don't ask me anymore, because frankly, there are like 11, 12, maybe even 13 motherfuckers on this team that deserve play time. It's difficult. And that's why I'm like, I really don't know what you do if you're the Cavs and you're trying to upgrade some of the positions that we need, or at least fill in some of the gaps that we still have, right? We do definitely need somebody that we can bank on as a 4 or 5 in minutes, where Jared Allen and Evan Mobley need to take a breather. But the thing about that is Dean Wade and George Niang have been filling in quite admirably. And speaking of George Niang, this dude, after having such a rough start to the season from beyond the three-point line, Niang has been rounding into form more and more lately, right? He hit 2 more triples tonight, would finish with 9 points, 3 rebounds in his 18 minutes off the bench. But even Niang, a guy who many people believe should not see the light of day, should not see the courts in a postseason series, I gotta admit, he is making me, and I've had conversations with George Niang. I have gone back and forth with him. He has literally hit me up, right? And I've spoke my mind to George, let him know, like, dude, I don't know if you're gonna crack the postseason rotation, but I'll tell you this: you have to be able to shoot. You have to be able to shoot the lights out. You have to be able to outperform players like Dean Wade and Max Strus. You have to be bringing some of these things to the table. I have told George that, but the thing is this: the way that he is playing, he's probably, you guys know how George is. He's never somebody who's going to mince words. He's very, very passionate about his job, being, that being basketball, and you love that about him. He doesn't take any shit. But with the way that he's played, I don't know how you don't include him in the postseason rotation. And I know people are going to combat that with, he can be taken advantage of defensively. I'm not so sure that's the case. There were numerous possessions tonight where I thought Yang actually did his job, and he did it quite well. There were a couple of possessions where I felt legitimately like Niang had a solid defensive possession. And I know that might not be the sexiest thing to say, but it's a reality situation. George Niang is playing impactful basketball, and he has been for a little while now. And I know we're all hoping that is going to be the case heading into the postseason, but obviously we still have a long portion of the season to go. It is not it is all these things that we are seeing. I think that they're going to be carried over for the entirety of the year, but we have to understand that it is still a marathon and not necessarily a sprint. George, for what it's worth, shooting 37.3% from 3-point range. Very, very respectable, good volume that he has right now. And the rebounding totals are among the highest of his career. That's also an area where if you're going to be playing backup 4 minutes and maybe some small ball 5 every now and then in certain lineups, it definitely helps. He is averaging 4 rebounds per game out there, which is a career best for him after having a career best 3.4 last year. And so some of these areas that we knew that he needed to be able to needed to be able to improve upon, i.e. the defensive side of the ball and rebounding, he's done that. So I don't really know. I don't know how much griping you can do about what George brings to the table and how much of what he does can't be translated to a postseason setting. So it's just damn hard. I say all that to say, I really don't know who should be in and out of a playoff rotation for this team. I just don't. And somebody who's deserving of minutes is going to be left out. But this is why I get so worked up when I hear, trade for Cam Johnson or, Rui Hachimura, who the guy, obviously played against tonight. One, I don't think they have the firepower to acquire such a player. And two, I'm not necessarily certain it's something that they need to do, because you're going to have to, due to financial restraints and, and trying to match salaries and whatnot. I'm not sure the Cavaliers, one, can get it done. And two, I don't think they actually have the assets to appeal to a team like Brooklyn. Right. So I don't know. I think we have what we need to make a title run. Obviously, you should always look to get better. I think that there are going to be pieces out in the buyout market that the Cavaliers should probably take a look at, come from the trade deadline and all that good stuff. But these are things that I have faith that Kobe Altman will be able to figure out. And with the way that they've played this season so far, I have no reason but to trust and believe in the process, because it's got us this far, 29-4. Lost to the Hawks twice, lost to Boston, and it escapes me who that other L was. And, I need to go back and look at the schedule. But, the Boston loss sticks with it. Miami. So Miami, Boston, and Atlanta twice. Cavaliers have only lost to 3 teams this season. They've only lost to 3 teams this year, all of them being in the Eastern Conference. The West ain't got nothing on Cleveland. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling to close this thing out. Cavaliers will face, if I'm not mistaken, the Dallas Mavericks and good old buddy old pal, Mr. Game 7 in Kyrie Irving on Friday, January 3rd. So the Cavaliers do have a couple of days off. That's great. Definitely need the rest after having this back-to-back, but they can go a very, very good 10-0 against the West if they beat Dallas on Friday. And I'll be looking forward to that. Hopefully you guys will join me. I'm going to get out of here because it's New Year's Eve. I am not about to be on this stream at midnight. I hope you guys have somebody that you're spending it with special. I hope that you've had a good holiday season and, that you've spent a lot of time with your family and a lot of time watching Cavaliers basketball. With that being said, as always, tell you guys, if you'd like to reach out to me, you know how you can. Hit me up. It's Cavalier at on Gmail. I'm all over the place right now. Y'all know what I usually say. If you want to reach out to me, you know how you can. If you want to be added to the It's Cavalier Discord chat, you know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a review, send a screenshot of said review to itscavalier53@gmail.com, and I'll send you an invite. If you're over on X, by the way, head on over to YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber to the It's Cavalier podcast. Hit that notification bell so you always know when I'm going live or when I drop a piece of Cavaliers-related content. That's all. Happy New Year. Go Cavs.